right, what's up, everybody? We're here for another edition of the Offside Show. Draft is on. The NHL Draft is this week, people. So we definitely will be having much to discuss today. But yeah, let's get this rolling. We got Jim. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Man, it's going to be a good show. Steve Yzerman's putting his stamp on this team, and we're going to tell you why that is. And going to look at the NHL draft, and we're going to do a mock draft of the first 4 picks. So everybody looking forward to that, and just excited to be here. And it's going to be a wonderful show, guys.
All right, Seth, how you doing?
Good. Excited. Looking forward to talks about Yzerman trimming the fat, also the draft, and also about a key trade from quite some time ago, the Chris Chelios trade. Looking back at that.
Yep, for sure. All right, let's just get right into this. So, Yzerman will not be bringing back Jonathan Ericsson, Trevor Daley, or Jimmy Howard. What are your thoughts? We'll start off with you, Seth.
Well, I believe now Yzerman is now really beginning to be able to put his influence on the team, and like any rational person would do, he would look at the roster and look at guys that in a rebuild, look at the players that are towards the ends of their careers or maybe not are as productive as they used to be, and just get rid of the dead weight, so to speak. Now, I know some people are kind of sentimental about Jimmy Howard. They're not that way about Jonathan Ericsson because he was like the whipping boy to fans. But with Howard, a lot of people got attached to him because, he spent 14 years with the team as a 3-time All-Star. But what people have to understand is this is strictly a business move. It's nothing personal. And this may sound kind of harsh, but in my view, Howard was really just an he was really supposed to be nothing more than a career backup who overachieved for a number of years. So in my estimation, from that standpoint, he's had a great career, for him to have been a starter for as long as he was and 3-time All-Star. So, hats off for him for being able to do what he was able to do. But, thank you for what you've done, but see ya. Time to move on.
All right. Jim, I don't know why I thought that was funny. Jim, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are Yzerman's not tied to anyone. He doesn't care what anybody thinks. He's just going to make the moves that he feels is going to be the best for this organization. And you know what? He's right. He's right. Howard is a serviceable goaltender. He can be elite, and he can be a good goaltender. But it is not in the rebuild. It's not in his plans. And Yzerman's going to make this team the way he feels it needs to be made. And these moves are a statement saying, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I got this. No big deal. And to those fans that are like, oh, we're not bringing back Jimmy Howard. That's terrible. This was a terrible team with him. So I don't think you're going to miss him that much. We're in a rebuild, folks. Get used to it.
All right. Yeah. I think, honestly, I don't even think I need to say anything because you guys took the words out of my mouth. I will just say this, though. Jimmy, thanks for your service. You did everything you could for us. I believe you gave us your all. Thanks for the time you spent with the team. It was appreciated. Good luck in your next with wherever you go. And yeah, thank you again. But, it was just that time. And the timing was honestly couldn't have been more perfect. It's just that time to move on. Not that it just was. Like, yeah, all right, let's go to. But outside of that, were there any other takeaways that you had from Yzerman's pre-draft press conference? Seth, we'll start off with you.
Well, one thing I didn't mention was I never really agreed with the Trevor Daley signing a couple years to begin with. I thought that was a bad move. Nothing against Daley personally, but I just felt like Ken Holland was taking the team in the wrong direction, trying to take on another veteran player as if the Wings were still cup contenders, even though they had just missed the playoffs. So other takeaways from the press conference, Yzerman being, was basically a man of few words and loving every bit of it, just him being Yzerman and just, I really got a big kick out of when he was asked about if there are certain things that he looks for in players, and he said yes, and then whoever it was asked him, do you care to share that with us? No, just unapologetically saying no. So just as Jim would say, he doesn't care what anyone thinks. He's building the team the way he thinks, and he's being very tight-lipped, which I really like. He's being transparent to the fans, but very tight-lipped with, the media in terms of his strategy until when it's necessary after the fact. And even then, sometimes he, if he doesn't feel like he needs to explain himself, he won't. So, hey, I have no problem with it.
Yeah, we got Dats in the building. What's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, no, but also, I don't know what's going on with Jimmy Howard. No, not Jimmy Howard. Jonathan Erickson. I feel like I read that he's plans on retiring. I feel like I heard that and I read that, but now all this it's just weird. But yeah, honestly, I mean, Jim, I disagree. Like when we were talking before the show started, he was being I was like, he's being very tight-lipped about whatever his plans are. He's not saying much of anything. He's just like, as boring a press conference as you can imagine. You know what I'm saying? But
he wasn't boring to me.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, that's interesting because it was just a press conference to me. All right, you know what, Jim? What are your thoughts on? Do you have any other takeaways from Yzerman's pre-draft press conference?
Yep, I do actually. I thought he was a little more open than I've heard people before. I know you said you think he's closed-lipped on things, but I was seeing some things where he's not bringing back the old guys. He's not going to bring back certain people, and it's going to be his team. And you can just see the confidence in his eyes and the leadership that he has, and I thought he was a little more open than you guys did, but I see things maybe reading between the lines a little bit. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah,
but I'm not sure.
I hear you. I guess I was talking more in terms of him revealing who he's going to pick. I guess right. I was talking more along those lines. But yeah, definitely you can read along the lines. He definitely is into picking players that have the high hockey IQ and are very versatile, multifaceted type players. The type of players that he acquired in Tampa Bay, and more importantly, the players he played with during his career in Detroit. So he has a plan. And, even if he doesn't call it the Yzer plan like the fans do, which I thought that was kind of funny how he just bluntly admitted that, no, we don't call it the Yzer plan.
Yeah.
And see, that's some of the stuff there, but I think that there's a lot more there than you guys realize, but maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, no, I guess what else was I? Oh, I guess one thing that was interesting is you're not gonna hit on every one of your first round picks. I'm like, wow, he's on.
I want to say something here. Hold on a second. Dad says that seals the deal. I'm no longer a Red Wings fan. Why?
No, he said more stuff after that.
Okay. He
said this also after that.
Okay, that's what Wings fans say on Twitter. Oh, okay. You know what? Ottawa, where they know how to run a team, that's a joke. Anyway, no. If you guys are losing faith, that's up to you. Don't be bandwagoners when this team's back in the Stanley Cup Finals, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Fans get passionate. Detroit fans they're impatient. That's really bad. When the GOAT of I don't know if the Red Wings are the GOAT of NHL franchises, but they're our best franchise, and they're struggling a little bit right now. So I don't know. I guess Detroit fans just feel a little impatient. It is.
They have more cups than any U.S.-based team in NHL history. Third most all time behind the Canadians and Maple Leafs.
Yep.
So they're definitely up there.
Yeah, they're up there. But I mean, they're up there. But yeah, should we go on to the next question, or are we?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, yeah. All right, we're good. We're gonna just go on to this. All right, so Red Wings acquired defenseman Marc Staal and a second-round pick from the New York Rangers in exchange for future considerations. Thoughts, Jim? We'll start off with you.
Number one, there was a deal with Moreau last year that netted them a first-round pick, and a lot of people around the league are asking why Yzerman didn't get a first-round pick for this contract, because the contracts are pretty even. But I think Stahl's got a lot more in the tank, and I think that's the difference here. I also don't think the Rangers can afford to give up a first-round pick as they're still rebuilding. But you get a second-round pick and Marc Staal. And he's a defenseman. He's a hitter. He's a guy that stands up for his teammates. He has a hell of a shot. I don't think this is a terrible deal at all. I think this is a good deal for the Red Wings, because it doesn't mean that they're committed to him for a long time. I think they've got 2 years on the deal. So plus you're acquiring draft picks. You're acquiring more picks, more capital, and this is the way Steve Yzerman builds a team. Absolutely a good deal for the Red Wings.
All right, I like it. Seth, how about you, man?
You mean to tell me people were thinking they should have gotten the first round pick? My gosh, I'm with Jim. I thought this was a really good deal. Second round pick and Staal. Like Jim was saying, Staal. He's a guy who's, he's not going to be real flashy. Obviously he's not as well known as his brothers Eric or even Jordan Staal, but he's a dependable blue liner who can, he has size and will hit people. And he's 33, so even though he's on the north side of 30, he's not too old. It's not like he's 38. So to get him at that age and with 2 years left, that's not bad. Plus, you could always maybe potentially use them as a trade chip later on, like maybe in a year, to get more draft picks. My one only concern would be what the future considerations will be. Whether that leads to another trade or what, we'll see. Because
I have an idea about that, but I don't know. I don't know if it'll be true. And I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm very sorry about that. But Svechnikov has come to mind a few times for me.
That I'd be fine with Svechnikov, because he's been a disappointment to me. Going by past trades, Draper was acquired originally for future considerations. It ended up only being for $1. And then there's actually another trade with Winnipeg later on. And then the Wings got Larry Murphy for future considerations, which ended up being basically ultimately really being for nothing, except unless you count the next trade with the Leafs a year later with Jimmy McCowan. So you never really know what's going to happen in terms of the future considerations part. But like Jim said, if it ends up being Evgeny Svechnikov, I'd be fine with that. As long as it's not like any other draft picks or any other promising prospects, like Zadina, I wouldn't be ready to give up on him yet. But Svechnikov, I'm just about ready to give up on him.
Yeah, it could be that. It could be a couple other guys too that just aren't going to pan out for us, and maybe a change of scenery would help them. I'm hoping. You know what? I'm not even going to say that name, but I think Svechnikov is kind of a reasonable consideration or something like that, or maybe it's a veteran, and maybe it's somebody that Yzerman's going to cut or something like that. But it just that completes the trade. So. We get rid of an older guy, a veteran, and somebody that we didn't really need on this team. That could be it too. But it looks the Rangers are still rebuilding. So you gotta look at. They're going to want young talent. They're not going to want an old player right now. So I think that's what's going to happen here. I think they've probably already agreed to a list of players that they can choose from, and then they'll probably choose that later on, and that'll be that.
All right. I mean, honestly, I don't even think I need to say anything. Does anyone else have anything to add? Because y'all hit on all the best points of this question.
I have one thing to add. Don't go last. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, do you actually have anything? Do you actually have anything else to add or?
No, I'm good.
All right, we're good. We're good. It's crazy. No, like it's a solid trade. Like we get draft capital, and no, I think you guys hit all the points on the head. So now I think this is something worth discussing because I don't know. I just think it's something worth discussing. And Yzerman, he didn't really say what he was thinking about. I guess he did say you can't have enough draft picks. I mean, well, it was weird what he said, but the Red Wings have 6 second-round picks and 4 third-round picks between this year and next year.
Say that one more time.
The Red Wings have 6 second-round picks and 4 third-round picks between this year and next year.
Wow.
With that in mind, are there any players that you think the Red Wings should or could or would trade up for in this upcoming draft? Yeah, in this upcoming draft with that amount of capital in mind, would you trade up for anybody, I guess? We'll start I don't know who to start off with. You know what? Seth, we'll start off with you.
You know what? I'm going to say no. For now, the Wings need to play it safe and collect as many draft picks as you can have. I'm with Yzerman on this one that you can never have enough draft picks. Heck, even when I'm playing NHL 12 or NHL 15, even when I have the Wings as cup-winning champions, I still like to collect draft picks when I can, even if it's mid to late round picks. I would really only trade away picks if there's like a certain player, a up and coming player or player in their prime that I really want. But in this case, I really don't think there's such a player in this draft that is worth trading draft picks for. Not even for Lafreniere, because this seems like a pretty deep draft, and the Wings should be able to get a very good player with the 4th pick. So keep your picks.
Okay. I personally think that it's something that should absolutely be considered, but that's just me. Like whether it's in trading back up into the first round or even trading up to take one of the big 3, I guess. But Jim, what are your thoughts? Do you think this should be up for consideration, or what?
I think everything's on the table, but Steve Yzerman kind of hit on a point where he says that the draft is kind of like all these draft picks are like lottery tickets. You never know which one's going to hit, and you never know which one's not. That's why he collects draft picks, and that's why he selects a lot of players with those draft picks, because you never know. You could get a Pavel Datsyuk in the late rounds. You could get, you just don't know what you're going to get in a player, at the NHL level when they're that young. And so you don't know the development path. So I say keep them. I mean, that's my choice, unless there's something there that is going to pan out, and you just can't. You can't pass up on the guy, but I don't see anybody other than Lafreniere. And I, to be honest with you, I wouldn't even trade those draft picks for him, because you never know what's going to pan out. You never know who's going to come from those picks.
All right. I mean, fair enough. I disagree. I think like you're leaning on the side of keep them. I'm leaning on the side of, I think you should maybe consider making a power move. I'm really kind of considering it. Like, I don't know who's in the later part of the first round, but I think I kind of am on the side of make a power move and do something like that.
But see, that's the point, though. We don't know it's a power move because we don't know the trajectory of the player that we're going to take. Just like there's a couple of players right now that we took in the first, second round that, Veleno hasn't done a whole lot, So there's a bunch of things that, these guys are going to take quite a while to develop anyway. I would get the most I can get, because then if a few players develop, heck, you've got a better team. And if then you have players to deal instead of picks. And those are always more valuable, I think, anyway, especially up and coming players.
PD, I think what your strategy would probably be more conducive for the NFL draft, where you have a little bit more certainty in terms of the prospects, because they're mostly 21, 22. So they have those few additional years of development. So if you're going to, if you've collected a whole bunch of picks and you want to trade into the late first round, I see it as being more feasible for the NFL. But NHL is way too much uncertainty. Every draft is a crapshoot regardless of what sport, but the NHL is even more so than any other league except maybe for baseball, because you have got, like Jim said, you have guys and as Yzerman alluded to, you have guys who are 18, 19. There's so much uncertainty except for, in most cases, the number 1 pick or maybe the number 2 pick. After that, there's no telling at all how good a player is going to be. So it's just too much uncertainty. Whereas in the NFL, you can get a better gauge of how good a player is going to be. And plus, the draft is deeper in the regard to where you can get a player in the first, second, or third round that ends up being a good start, a starter, an elite player, or even a Hall of Famer. I mean, you can still do that in the NHL too, but it's not as likely. So that's my take on it.
All right. I mean, it's fair enough. I mean, I'm not gonna give extreme pushback, but I don't know. I think somebody's gonna come. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but all right. Now this is the fun part. This is the whole thing we've been waiting for. Mock draft. Who do you think are going to be the top 4 picks in this NHL draft, and why do you have the player going where you have them going? Who wants to go first? I'm just going to take volunteers on this one.
Yeah, I'll go first. I don't care.
All right, you're going first.
So
Jeff.
we're going to start out at number 1, right? This is the mock draft, correct?
Okay. Yes, the mock draft.
We're starting out with the Rangers at number 1, who's a playoff team, but still rebuilding. We just did a trade with them. They are going to choose Lafreniere. I don't see anybody else in the top spot there, so that's who we're going to give them. The Los Angeles Kings needs a left winger. The best one on the board is Tim, and please pronounce this for me, PD, because I have a hell of a time with it. I don't know why. It looks funny to me. Stutzla.
No, it gets me too. But
Tim Stutzla is going to the Kings. The Sens are morons, but I think they're going to get it right this time. They need a centerman really bad. They don't go for Byfield here as he drops out of the top 4, and they go with Marco Rossi. That is in their developmental system anyway. Plays for the 67ers, which is an Ottawa team, junior team anyway. I think they go with that guy. And then the Wings, having Rossi off the board, go to Drysdale, the defenseman, going to be paired up with Seider for years to come, or be put on the second line and paired with another one of our up-and-coming defensemen, creating a really good offensive defensive pairing with somebody else. And he can actually captain the power play just as well as Seider can. So I think that'll work out really good in Detroit. And that's my top 4.
All right, I like it. Seth, what's your mock draft? What does your mock draft look like for the top 4 picks?
Okay, based upon what I've seen from websites and even from a few draft specials, it's almost universally to where everyone thinks that Lafreniere is going to go first, Byfield second, and Stutzle third. But I'm going to deviate slightly from that. Of course, Lafreniere is going to the Rangers. That's pretty much almost etched in stone. I think I don't see anything differently. Stutzle, I think, will go second to the Kings. I know some people are saying that, it doesn't make sense for Byfield to go there since they already have, what's his name? Trying to Kopitar at center, but he's getting older. So, but, up until recently, I had Byfield going to LA, but I'm going to go with Stutzla. Please ignore that phone ring, please. I think third, the Senators will probably go with Drysdale, believe it or not, get a defender. So with the Wings, I think that they will end up going with Rossi. There's a part of me that would think about Yzerman going with the goalie Yaroslav Askarov, but I ultimately don't see that happening. I know Yzerman technically went off the board last year with Seider, but unless the goalie is number 1 or number 2, I don't see Yzerman going with the goalie. I mean, I know he went with one Vasilevsky when he was in Tampa Bay, but that was a different story. The Lightning had a little more depth already on their team. So I see them going either with a forward or a defenseman. And in this case, if Drysdale's already off the board, he's going to take Rossi.
All right. Wait, so your top four, you got Lafreniere going 1, you have Stützle going 2, then who'd you have going 3?
Drysdale
3, and then you had us taking Rossi.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to give 2 teams. I'm going to give what I would do if I were these teams. I'm going to give what I think will happen. I'm going to throw a curveball in here. The Rangers, I have them taking Lafreniere. That's what I would do if I were the Rangers. It's like there's almost no explanation needed, right? It's been hitting to death. Now here's the curveball. Red Wings trade up to the number 2 spot and take Tim Stützle. I don't know. I like Stützle a lot, man. I think he's going to be a very impact player for a championship team for us. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. I would totally trade up for Stützle. He's like probably, I think, my favorite player that we've discussed.
He might fall to us anyway.
He might. That's a big question. Do you think he will, though? Dude, he's like mocked in the top 3.
No. But if he's there, I would definitely take him. If he's there.
Yeah, if he's there, but that's what I would do. I would trade up to make sure you get him. Then if I were the Senators, I would still take Byfield. I know I feel like we've all trashed him a lot on this. Maybe trashing is not the right word, but we've all been critical of Byfield. But the physical tools for the kid are there. It's pretty much all just comes down to your coaching staff and your player development staff. Can they get the most out of his physical abilities? And then if I were the Kings, I guess I'd probably go Cole Perfetti. If I were the GM, I would probably take Cole Perfetti. Since I traded up with the Kings are now in the 4th spot. But if I were the Kings, I would take Cole Perfetti after that trade. So that's what I would do. Now, what do I think will happen? I think the Rangers will take Lafreniere. Again, not really any explanation needed. And I have the Kings taking Stützle still. The Kings ranked shocking. They only ranked like 30 out of 31 teams in goals for this season. And I think Stützle gives you a solid balance of smart play, scoring, and defense. And you can't. That's why I think I think Stützle will be taking number 2. And then even with that, I think Byfield will go to number 3 again. I already talked about him a little bit, just develop him, get the most out of his physical abilities. And then I have Marco Rossi coming to the Red Wings that's just strictly what I think will happen. That's what I think will happen. The first one was what I would do. Then the second one is what I think will happen. But I think Rossi will be a great pick for the Red Wings, assuming we take him. But he's a solid 2-way forward. Gives you the best. He gives you a great chance to win a lot of games, and more importantly, gives you a great chance to win on the highest level. I just think Rossi just feels like an Yzerman pick. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but yeah,
he does.
Does anyone else have anything so yeah, those are the mock drafts. Does anyone have anything to add about these mock drafts? Any agrees or disagrees or what?
Yeah, to go along with what you're seeing, PD, Perfetti seems more like the player that Yzerman was early in his career, as Yzerman was known as being a goal scorer who could also be a playmaker, whereas Rossi is more like the player Yzerman became later, as well as some of the other players that he played with, like Fedorov. So that's why my gut would go with Rossi as opposed to Perfetti.
No, for sure.
But in terms of what you would think would happen, no, not what you think, what you would want to happen, trading up, I'm gonna keep this PD, but you are out of your freaking mind if you think that's what the Wings are gonna do. Trade up a couple spots.
That's what I want.
Definitely not happening. It's not happening. No,
You don't like Stützle?
this ain't the NFL.
Dude, Stützle's a beast, man. I'm telling you.
I get that, but that is not happening. Now, if he slips to the fourth spot, that's different, but it's not happening. And you still get a really great player at the fourth pick. It's not the end of the world.
That's not the end of the world. You're right. It's not the end of the world, but I don't know. I think Stützle will have a larger impact in the NHL. I think his impact will be larger than Rossi's impact will be. No, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example here. Like, would you rather have, like, here's the thing that's not the end of the world. Would you rather have Wayne Gretzky or who was his running mate? I always forget his running mate.
Which one? Yara Courier, Marc Messier? There's several.
Messier. Yeah, which one would you rather have? Marc Messier or Wayne Gretzky? Which one would you rather have?
Well, yeah, personally, Gretzky, but hockey is a team sport. If you have the best player in the world, it's not going to mean a damn thing if you don't have a team around him. Look at when he was with the Kings during the last part of his stint there. He was demanding that the team gets better players or trade them. So, I understand your point about you think that Stützle will have a greater individual impact than Rossi, but you also have to look at who Rossi's going to be paired up with in Detroit. He's a playmaker, so that could, help out someone like Mantha, help out Zadina, Larkin. So, so actually in that regard, he could have a greater impact, from that standpoint of being a playmaker.
Dude, all the things you just said, Stützle does the same stuff, except I think it will be to a higher degree than Rossi. And besides, y'all are tripping. Like, we still have 5 second-round picks, even with my trade up. We still have 5 second-round picks. It's not like I give
more draft picks, more players. You're the one tripping. Mm-mm.
No, you're acting like I've given up the farm to get Stützle. I'm not giving up the farm. I'm giving up a freaking second.
You might have to give up the farm, even if you're trading 2 spots. You might have to give up the farm. You may have to give up multiple 2, 3, 4 second-round picks. You get another GM. If he thinks you're desperate to get to that spot, he could guarantee. He could definitely fleece the heck out of you.
Yeah, but Yzerman doesn't get fleeced. Even in Tampa Bay, he was the one doing the fleecing. If anything, Yzerman's the one that's going to fleece the.
Which is why he wouldn't make such a trade.
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm gonna have to disagree. I think Stützle, dude. We have a lot of draft picks still, dude. I guess that's where I disagree with you guys. Like, it's not like we wouldn't be giving up the farm. And I looked up the point system. The NHL draft has a similar point system to the NFL draft, and we can we can trade up and not give up the farm.
But see, here's the thing. I don't even think we need to trade up to get Stützle. I think somebody's going to be dumb and take Byfield number 2. And then, Lafreniere's number 1. I don't know. Stützle, does he go 3? If he does, we still got Rossi and we still got Drysdale. And I think those players are outstanding. So I don't see a reason to trade up. And I didn't even think we had a farm. I didn't know anything about that.
Okay. Yeah. But oh my gosh, dude, you all get what I'm saying. It's not like we're giving up our house, our cars, our babies. And
no, I didn't say that, but you don't have to give up anything, in my opinion.
Well, that's a big. I don't know, man.
I put him in the same category as Rossi and Drysdale, and I like both those players, and I like him too, but I don't like him that much.
Okay.
I'm okay. I'm okay with getting that the other talent is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not mad if we get Rossi. I don't know. It's like when we talked about a little what if scenario a couple weeks ago with who was the player. Like, we could have drafted a player, but he was declared ineligible or something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about, Seth?
Pavel Bure, 1989.
Yeah, Pavel Bure. Like,
yep.
Dude, that's like 2 extra. That may or may not have been 2 extra Stanley Cups.
But do you honestly know? Let me ask you this question. This might clear things up. Do you honestly know that whatever the hell his name is is better than Rossi and is better than Drysdale by that much.
Dude, everything in the draft, let's be honest, like when you're doing the draft, it's partial. It's a partial, a lot of research, a lot of film study, and some of it's also, whether some you will agree with this or not, your gut feeling does play a part at times, I'm sure, where it's like, and yeah, that's kind of what my gut. It's like, that's why I kind of think it is. Like, he could be the difference between 3 Stanley Cups or 4 Stanley Cups or 5. You know what I'm saying?
But you don't know that. That's the
No, we
problem.
don't
And
know it.
you give up draft capital for an unknown. And I don't do that. I mean, I just don't. Not unless Yzerman thinks he's the guy, and I trust his hockey IQ and his hockey sense. I don't trust yours, Petey. I'm just kidding.
No, I know. I trust Yzerman's more than I trust mine. I agree. I trust Yzerman. I mean, obviously hindsight's 2020, but
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're saying that we don't know. We don't know if you're not trading up for an unknown, but what if that unknown turns out to be amazing? Like, sometimes gambles pay off and sometimes gambles backfire right in your face.
And I'm saying we don't have to make one.
Exactly. I think I'm saying that too. I don't think that's necessary in this situation because the guy could fall to us anyway. It's not like I don't see him in the same breath as, like a Sidney Crosby, where it's like, oh, this guy's clearly number one. He's not even the clear number one in this draft. So I can't see us giving that up for somebody that might be good.
And another thing.
Good. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Seth.
And another thing, we'll go back to 1983, that draft, because Jim Devellano was set on Pat LaFontaine being the guy to revive the Red LaFontaine. But the Islanders, took him at number 3, and Devellano had to settle for Steve Yzerman. But Yzerman ended up being the best player out of the draft. So again, you never know. And then later on in the draft, you had, Cam Neely taken. So while LaFontaine was certainly a great player, a Hall of Famer, but Yzerman ended up being the better player. So just imagine had the Devellano traded up 1 spot or even 2 spots just to take LaFontaine. The Wings might not would have had the same type of success with LaFontaine as they had with Yzerman.
Yeah, that works both ways. You see, you're kind of enforcing.
No. I know you're trying to say I'm feeding into your point, but I'm not.
You kind of are. Like, you're saying, what if we just like Yzerman was, like Jim said that he's not even, like, we don't know, like, where he's not. We don't know if he's he's not necessarily Sidney Crosby or anything like that. So you're saying that LaFontaine was viewed as that Sidney Crosby, but we settled for Yzerman. Well,
that's not what I said, because
I know it's not what you said, but you feel what I'm saying, or do you not feel what I'm saying?
No, I'm not. Let's move on, because I'm starting to get to that point to where like I am with the Lions Round Table talking about Matt Patricia, I'm about to rant and I'm about to cuss. So let's please move on.
All right, fine. We'll see what happens. I'm sure you know what? Before we move on, though, I'll just say whoever we pick is going to be a great MFing player. That's all I'm going to say before we move on. I'll be happy with whoever we get, whether it's Stützle, Rossi, Drysdale, Perfetti,
Gumby.
Whoever we get.
Just kidding.
Gumby.
I had to make Seth laugh. Yeah, I knew he would get the reference.
Or hell.
Yeah, thanks, Jim, for lightening the mood.
Yeah, no, but I'm sorry, Seth. I didn't mean to anger you that much, but it's all good. All right, let's give you our last question for the day.
All right, let's make it count.
Yeah. What did you think of the Chelios trade, and how did it change how you viewed him as a player?
I love this. I want to take this first. This was something that Seth brought up, and I thought it was really good because he's such an antagonist, right? And when he was with Chicago, I hated him. I got to be honest. I really didn't like the guy at all. We trade for him, and he is kind of, a really good player. So he's like, oh, he's on our team now. And then you get to know the person, and your viewpoint completely changes. And now he's one of our guys, and you love what he does for the team and all this instead of hating him. It's just a complete turnaround for me. It was such an emotional roller coaster with Chelios because really hated the guy when he was in Chicago. Really hated the guy. And he comes to Detroit, and then all of a sudden it kind of changes to, and it wasn't right away. It wasn't right away for me. It took me a little bit of time because I hated him that much. It was difficult to see him in a Red Wing uniform at first. I was happy we got him because I knew he was probably a future Hall of Famer. Excellent defenseman, but just as annoying. I felt dirty player when he played with Chicago, and I didn't like him that much. And I wish someone would have beat the hell out of him then. And then he comes to Detroit and, becomes a fixture in Detroit for quite a while and opens up restaurants and, and stuff. So it's like, it's like if you're going from your rival and you go to, the other one, and it takes a little while before you, believe that their loyalties are with you. And I think that at the end it was, so it was a dramatic shift in what I felt about the player and the person. I didn't really know the person before he got here. And when he came, we all kind of fell in love with him after a while, but it took a while, especially for people that hated the Blackhawks at the time. But yeah, that's my take on that. I thought it was a really good question.
All right. Well, I can barely, honestly, when I watched the Red Wings, he was already on the team. So I can remember him pretty clearly, if you know what I mean. I don't even, it doesn't even feel right in a Blackhawks uniform. He feels like he was a Red Wing. Seeing him in any other uniform just feels weird for me personally. But Seth, how did this all go down for you?
Well, you guys have the two extreme views of Chelios, where Jim totally hated him beforehand and PD had no memory of him as a Blackhawk beforehand. I'm sort of in the middle, because I really became a fan in the early 90s. So, the Blackhawks being a rival team, I didn't like them, but though I later came to respect them. So I didn't really have the same disdain for Chelios as a player. I actually had more of a respect for him, but I understood he was on the rival team. I actually had a lot more disdain when the Wings signed Yui Krupp, believe it or not, because he was from the Avalanche. I was like, when the Wings were, when I first heard the Wings were interested in him, I was like, what are you doing? No! I didn't want anyone associated with the Avalanche. So I'm sure that's how Jim felt about Chelios at first when he came in the trade. Now, with that said, even though I didn't really have disdain for Chelios, I was still kind of shocked when I first heard that, the Wings could be trading for him, getting this elite defenseman, Norris Trophy winning defenseman from the Blackhawks. It was shocking. And then when the trade actually went down, and I heard the Wings basically only gave up Anders Eriksson, I think maybe a mid or late round draft pick. I was like, wow. The Wings,
we fleeced the Blackhawks in that trade.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and then there was another trade that same day with the Lightning where we got Wendell Clark and Bill Ranford for Kevin Hansen. A friend of mine, we were getting on the bus to school that day. He was telling me Ken Holland should be thrown in jail for what he just did. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome, because the Wings have been kind of up and down that season. They were in first place in their division, but it was a weak division. But I noticed after that trade, the Wings were on fire for the end of the regular season. And I did not expect Chelios to be with the Wings for as long as he was. I figured maybe he'd be a rental player like McCowan was a year before, but I was pleasantly surprised that he stayed with the team as long as he did. Opened up Kelly's Diner and, was such a fixture in the community, like Jim said, until recently when he returned to Chicago to care for his mother. He was getting older. So I
Right.
think didn't his father pass away?
I'm not sure about that.
Well, anyway, until recently, he was in Detroit and, his kids going to school here, playing hockey here. So even though he may not have been the same Norris Trophy winning form that he was in Chicago or Montreal, he was still a very capable defenseman, second, third pair defenseman, tough, rugged, and provided that veteran presence to help win the 02 and 08 Cups. So, it was weird seeing him in the Red Wing uniform at first, but after a while, it became hard to picture him in any other uniform, Just funny way how that trade turned out.
All right. Fair enough. I mean, like I said, I don't really have much to add on it because I like watching him in any other uniform. It feels weird. Like it feels regular to watch him in a Red Wings uniform. Like it doesn't even feel like he ever played for any other team for me personally, because that's just that's how far back I can remember the guy. But yeah, I think we're just gonna be a little bit shorter than normal. But yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and go on to final thoughts. I'll just say thanks, Stats, for tuning in. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Can't wait to see what the Red Wings do. The draft I'm pretty sure it is this upcoming Tuesday. So, and then we have free agency this week also. So make sure to tune into the Offside Show next week because we're gonna have a busy Offside Show next week. Maybe not. We'll see what Yzerman decides to do. We'll see.
We'll have a busy show for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah. Yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed, and we're going to go ahead and go over to Jim. Give us your final thoughts. Oh, I guess actually I have one other thing to say. Actually, no, I don't. Yeah, Jim, go on to your final thoughts.
Yeah, I think Yzerman's putting his stamp on this team. I think he's showing great leadership by getting rid of some of the players that we needed to get rid of and bringing in another pick, plus replacing Trevor Daley. He replaced one of the two with another defenseman. It helps us and we'll get Mort Seider up this year too. So I would imagine those two would replace the ones we just lost. The goaltending issue at this point, I don't think it matters much. I think we're going to bring up a goalie. Or we might get one in free agency. I would watch that. It's possible we pick up a goalie in free agency. I don't know that for sure, but I would pay attention. But I really like the way this team is starting to shape up. I do like the addition by subtraction type of a formula at this point so that we can get quality players, more draft picks, and Yzerman continues to rebuild. Stay tuned to the show, and tonight, tune into the Above the Rim show. I don't know what channel it's on. I don't know what time it is, but
JMO's channel.
It's on JMO's channel. Is it 7 or 8 tonight?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, but tune in tonight to JMO's channel for the Above the Rim show, and I appreciate each and every one of you that do listen to our show. And want you to come back and listen again. Tell your friends if you haven't already about the Offside Show and the Red Wings content that we deliver here. Thank you, everyone, and have a good week.
All right, so I just looked it up. The Above the Rim is at 7:00 tonight. So
okay,
yeah.
Good.
All right, but yeah, Seth, final thoughts.
Thanks for tuning in again. Even if we continue to disagree. I know I had that explanation a couple of weeks ago about the Wings being in a rebuild, but nonetheless, thanks for tuning in again. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. I know it got kind of heated earlier, but sometimes that's what happens when we talk sports and we're passionate about it. That's all that it means, right? That we're very passionate in what we talk about. So I think that makes the show more interesting. Please tune in next week, because we are sure to have plenty of good sports gossip to talk about, with the draft being in the rearview mirror by that time and free agency starting up by that time. So, yes, we should have plenty to talk about. We'll be back at our usual time at 3 p.m. You heard it from me, Seth Walker.
All right, and with that, we are out.